good afternoon, good morning, good evening po sa ating lahat kung anong oras naman po ito pinapanood. We are the Group 3 at ngayon po ay we're going to present or to defend our topics. I am John Luis Valenzuela. I'll be the first presenters po. So I'll be discussing the topic titled Assessment Portfolio. Okay, so before we start, siguro lahat naman po sa atin ay nakagawa o nakakita na ng portfolio. Nakakita na tayo ng traditional or even the electronic one. So, I have a question. Ano ang inyong thoughts about portfolio? So, maybe ang maiisip niyo is ito ay collections na mga activities, quizzes, or any kinds of evidence na makikita or pwedeng ilagay sa portfolio. Okay. Bago natin umpisahan ng talakayan, meron po akong ipapanood sa inyo na video. So, this is a record ni Jordan Dingley. Siguro po kilala po ito ng mga ST students, especially ST students. So, he is awarded as Best in Academic Portfolio noong Eduk Parangal 2024. So, tinanong po namin siya kung ano po para sa kanya ang portfolio. So, pakinggan po natin siya.
Okay, so what is portfolio? So when I say portfolio, it is a collection of different works or activities na ginawa ng isang estudyante for compilation, and it contains reflection kung ano yung tutunan ng estudyante sa ginawa niya. And it can be a physical portfolio and it can be an electronic portfolio or yung tinatawag natin na e-portfolio.
Napakaganda ng recording. So, Mr. Dingley mentioned the different kinds of portfolio. Meron po tayong traditional, electronic, that's called e-portfolio. So now we are discussing or what is the meaning of portfolio. Okay, so what is portfolio? Portfolio comes from the word portare, eri, or geo sheet of paper. So that is an Italian word. Diyan po nag-umpisa or kinuha yung salitang portfolio. Okay, so portfolio assessment is more than a collection of documents. It is a systematic and organized collection of a student's work that demonstrate the student's skills and accomplishments. So, portfolio is being used. Ginawa na rin po itong assessment. So, when we say systematic, it is a planned assessment. Okay, so makikita po natin dito sa bandang baba yung kind po ng portfolio and e-portfolio. Ito po yung traditional portfolio. Then ito naman po yung tinatawag nating e-portfolio or the electronic one. Yun. Okay. So, evidence of learning can be put in students' portfolios. So, number 1 is artifacts. So, pag sinabi po nating artifacts, ito po is the physical or yun po yung mga activities or quizzes na ipinasa po ng mga students. And even sa electronic portfolio, yung mga artifacts po like videos, ano pa ba? Like performance task, kung meron po silang video na pwede po nilang ilagay yun. So, ang tawag po doon is artifacts. And also, number 2, we have reproduction. So, reproduction is, ito naman po is documents of students work outside the classroom. So, pwede pong reproduction yung mga ginawa po nila sa labas or in-apply po nila yung natutunan nila sa students sa classroom outside the classroom. So, pwede po doon yung mga workshop, projects. Okay, so para po maipakita nila na nai-apply po nila yung mga natutunan nila sa classroom sa community. So, we have the third one at attestations. The teachers or other responsible persons documentations to attest the students' progress. So when we say attestations, ito po yung mga comments ng iba about sa mga students. And also, pwede rin pong parents. Okay, number 4, we have the productions, the documents that the student himself or herself prepares. So sa madaling salita, ito po yung reflection or pwede pong babasa rito yung thought ng estudyante about his or her progress or ano yung mga challenges na kanyang natamo pagdating po sa ginawa niyang task. So, ang susunod po na i-discuss ko sa inyo is the essential elements of a portfolio. So, when we say essential, ito po yung mga importanteng ilalaman ng portfolio natin. Okay. Navarro et al. Cites the following essential elements of a portfolio. The first one, we have the cover letter. So, kapag sinabi po natin cover letter, it's dapat makikita po ng reader yung abstract, yung thought ng estudyante about sa kanyang journey. So, parang ito po yung reflection ng portfolio. Ito po yung pwedeng mailagay ng estudyante para po matukoy ng mga mambabasa kung ano po yung aasahan nila makikita nila din sa portfolio. Number 2, we have the table of contents with numbered pages. Okay, so table of contents, when we say table of contents with number of pages, ito po yung kailangan yung number ng pages is nasa table of contents para po hindi mawala yung mambabasa. Number 3, we have the entries. So, meron po ditong dalawang pwedeng ilagay ng mga students na entries. Yung student choose to include best pieces of work, yung mga big achievements nila, or yung kahit sa ibang bagay na nakakuha sila ng achievements. And also, pwede po nilang ilagay dito yung piece of work which gave trouble or one that was less successful and gave reasons why. So, pwede rin po nilang ilagay yung mga work nila na they faced challenges na nahirapan sila. And also, pwede rin po sila maglagay doon ng thought kung bakit po nila nilagay yung work na yun. Kahit na hindi po yun yung mga best of work nila. Okay, number 4, we have dates on all entries. So, of course, para po matukoy yung growth ng isang estudyante, kailangan po may dates para po may evidence kung kailan po ginawa yung task ng students. Number 5, we have a draft of oral and written products revised revisions. First drafts and corrected drafts. So, hindi lang po dapat ilagay yung mga natapos na task or mga activities or mga artifacts. Pwede rin po natin ilagay yung mga draft natin. So, it also provide evidence po sa growth ng mga bata. And lastly, we have the reflections. So, reflections, of course, it summarizes the student's thoughts, student progress. Reflections, pwede po siyang formative and summative purposes. Can be written in the mother tongue or by English. So, pag reflections, kahit ano pong pwede pong mother tongue or English kung saan po tayo comfortable. Okay? So, that's it. So, ang next po na mag-present is si Camille Silpo.
Thank you, Mr. Valenzuela. So now I'll be discuss about the 6 stages. But before that, did you know that Navarro et al. 2013 are scholars or educators who contributed to the field of educational assessment by outlining systematic stages for implementing portfolio in classroom. Their work emphasizes a structured, reflective, and student-centered approach to assessment. The framework they propose provides practical strategies for teachers to enhance learning through portfolios, fostering critical thinking and accountability in students. So by the following these stages, educators ensure that portfolio are not just a collection of work, but a meaningful representation of student learning journey and achievement. So stage 1, identifying learning outcomes to assess through portfolio. So these stages involves determining what student should achieve at the end of the lesson or course. Learning outcomes serve as the foundation of selecting tasks and work that student will include in their portfolio. This outcome must be specific, measurable, and aligned with the lesson objective. Example, in a creative writing class, the learning outcome could be student will demonstrate the ability to write a short story with proper narrative structure, vivid description, and coherent plots. So the stage number 2, introducing the idea of portfolio assessment to your class. At this stage, teacher can explain the purpose and process of portfolio assessment. Students are introduced to what a portfolio is and how it helps showcase their progress and achievements. Providing example or past portfolio is essential to help students visualize the final output. For the stage number 3, specification of portfolio content. Teachers specify what types of work and how many pieces need to be included in the portfolio. This ensures students focus on quality over quantity and include relevant materials aligned with the learning outcomes. For example, for a literature class, the portfolio content could be to analyze essay on selected poems, a reflection on how point 3 influences emotion. For the stage number 4, giving clear and detailed guidelines for portfolio presentation. Teacher provide detailed instruction on how the portfolio should be presented. These include formatting, deadlines, and grading criteria. Clear guidance prevents students from feeling overwhelmed or confused about the expectation. For the stage number 5, informing K-school officials, parents, and other stakeholders. This stage emphasizes the importance of notifying relevant individuals, such as the department head, dean, principal, and even parents, about the portfolio assessment approach. Informing them ensure transparency and avoids misunderstanding or complaints about the new method. Example, before implementing portfolio assessment in a science class, a teacher conducts a meeting with the principal and department head to explain the objectives and process. The teacher also sends a letter to parents detailing how the portfolio will document their child's progress and be part of the grading system. So, for the last stage is development of the portfolio. At this stage, teacher guides students in creating their portfolios, while providing support and encouragement. The focus is on reflection and self-assessment, helping students identify their best work and areas for improvement. Teacher may also encourage peer feedback to improve portfolio quality. So, reflection question for the students. What did I learn from this activity? Which is my best piece? How can I improve this? For example, in an English class, students compile essays, reflection, and peer review drafts. A teacher asks them to choose one essay they feel is their best and explain. So, ang e-portfolio ay isang digital na paraan upang mapakita at maitala at ma-reflect ang learning ng mga estudyante o professional. So, number 1, recognizing learning. So, sa recognizing learning, sa e-portfolio, madaling makita ng mga estudyante at guro ang mga milestones o progress ng learning. Nakakatulong ito upang ma-highlight ang kanilang mga achievements. Halimbawa, makikita ng isang estudyante kung paano gumanda ang kanyang essay mula sa una hanggang sa pinakabagong gawa niya. So, the number 2, recording learning. Ang e-portfolio ay nagsisilbing record ng lahat ng gawaing natapos ng isang estudyante. Ito ay isang nagsisilbing dokumentasyon ng kanilang educational journey. Halimbawa, pwedeng maipon ang research papers, projects, reflection sa isang organized na lugar na madaling i-review sa hinaharap. So, the number 3, reflecting on learning. So, hinihikayat ng e-portfolio ang mga estudyante na mag-reflect sa kanilang natutunan at sa kanilang mga gawa. Pinapalalim nito ang self-awareness at critical thinking skills. Halimbawa, sa bawat project maaring tanungin ng estudyante ang sarili, ano ang natutunan ko, paano ko pa ito maipapabuti. So, the number 4 is validating learning. Ang e-portfolio ay nagsisilbing patunay na may natutunan ang isang estudyante sa kurso o training. Maaring gamitin ito sa application para sa trabaho o sa iba pang layunin. Halimbawa, kapag nag-apply ka ng work, maaring ipakita ng isang estudyante ang kanilang e-portfolio bilang ebidensya ng kanilang mga skills. For the number 5, planning new learning. Nagsisilbing gabay ang e-portfolio sa pagplaplano ng mga sumusunod na hakbang ng learning ng estudyante. Makikita nila kung ano pa ang kailangang pagtutunan ng pansin. Halimbawa, kapag nakita ng isang estudyante na mahina siya sa data analysis, maaari siya mag-focus dito sa sumusunod na projects. So, for the number 6, assessing learning. Nagamit ang e-portfolio para sa assessment o evaluasyon ng mga guro. So, the next presenter is Miss Maika Mayonte.
Ayan, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depende sa kung anong oras yung pinapanood ang videong ito. Ayan, thank you Camille and John Lloyd sa pag-introduce ng portfolio assessment at kung paano ma-implement ng mabuti ang portfolio sa paaralan. Ngayon, dadako naman tayo sa napapanahon. Ano ba ito? E-portfolio, tinatawag na electronic portfolio. Actually, dahil nasa digital age na tayo, di ba? Lahat na ginagamitan ng digital, electronic, and everything. Kaya yan, bago tayo magsimula, ano natin yung sinabi ni Geoff Rebick. Sabi niya, the e-portfolio, ayan, nababasa nyo dito. I-summarize ko na agad. Sabi niya, central and common point for the student experience. It is a reflection of the student as a person undergoing continuous personal development, not just a store of evidence. Yan, sinabi din is student experience. Ayan, bago natin na-explain yan, ano muna pala ang e-portfolio? Sabi dito, it is a digital collection of a course-related work like essays, posters, photographs, videos, artwork na ginawa ng isang estudyante. Sabi ito, student experience. Ibig sabihin sa portfolio, nakakaroon tayo ng opportunity na may pakita yung ating learning journey or educational journey, yung ating mga na-experience bilang isang estudyante. Kasi pwede natin ilagay yung mga ginawa nating mga activities, and then nakakaroon din tayo ng continuous personal development. Kasi through e-portfolio, nakakaroon tayo ng nakikita natin mga, kumbaga, yung mga weaknesses, yung mga strength natin, dapat pala yung ginawa ko nung ginawa ko yung activity na ito, and kahit na ano, ayan. Sabi doon, nung nakita natin mga activity natin na ipinapasa natin sa mga e-portfolio, mas nalalaman natin na kung saan yung mga kailangan pa natin i-improve sa ating sarili, lalo na sa ating pag-aaral. Ayan, ito yung mga example ng e-portfolio. Ayan, pwede nyo i-click yung link and something. And then, dumako naman tayo sa learning theory behind e-portfolios. Ayan, according to Baskin 2008, e-portfolios are a way to generate learning, yes, as well as document learning. Sinabi to generate learning. Ano kayang ibig sabihin ng generate learning? Hindi, kasi nakakaroon, pag gumagawa tayo ng portfolio, nakakaroon ng reflection, self-reflection. Kung baga, nakaroon tayo ng activity, nilagay natin sa portfolio natin, kagaya na sinabi ko kanina, nakakaroon ng learning sapagkat nalalaman natin yung mga nagawa natin. Nakakaroon din tayo ng parang recall sa nangyayari o ginawa natin sa isang subject o isang course. Diba? And then, document learning, syempre doon natin i-store yung mga activities at kung ano-ano pang mga activities na ating ginawa. Tapos, ang sabi dito, pinakauna, constructing knowledge. E-portfolios fall within a learning theory known as social constructivism. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng social constructivism? Ina-emphasize dito yung learning na yung importance ng social interactions. Yan, social constructivism, lagi yung tandaan, social interaction, and then yon, collaboration in the learning process. Paano ko nasabi yon? Kasi, hindi lang natin natatransmit yung mga knowledge natin sa sarili natin, kundi pwede rin natin i-share sa iba nating mga kaklase, teacher mismo, para malaman yung ating learning journey. And, ayan, pwede nating sabihin sa mga kaso natin, pakita natin i-portfolio natin yung experience natin, discussion, reflection sa mga ginawang activities. And then, ayun, nakakaroon din ng sharing na learning materials and everything. And then, dahil doon, nakakaroon din tayo ng construction of knowledge dahil sa mga nagagawa natin na activities at na ilalagay natin sa ating e-portfolio. Ano dyan? Susunod ay making learning visible. Okay, sabi dyan, describe the process of critical reflection that is involved in the creation of effective e-portfolios as one that makes invisible learning visible. Pag sinabing invisible learning, pag sinabing invisible learning, syempre ito naman di ba? Paano natin makita yung learning ng isang bata? Di ba? Through e-portfolio, nakita natin na naintindihan ng bata yung subject or yung lesson na naituro ng isang guro sapagkat sa e-portfolio, mas-showcase nila yung kanilang knowledge and skills sa isang topic, sa isang lesson na naituro. Ayan, kaya sabi dyan, it transforms, sabi nga, invisible learning into visible outcomes. Yung mga outcomes, yung mga works, essays nila nasa e-portfolio, doon natin masusukat kung naintindihan ba ng bata yung ating itinurong mga lessons and yan, topics sa ating pag-aaral, yan, sa ating itinuro. Nakakaroon din sila ng nagre-reflect din sila, nakakaroon din ng critical reflection na nabanggit dyan. Critical reflection, paano nagkaroon ng ganon? Kasi nagkakaroon ng opportunity yung bata na mag-reflect critically sa kanilang learning journeys. Articulate their thoughts and also yung mga experience nila, personal experience nila sa mga activities na ginagawa nila mismo, yun, na nailalagay nila sa kanilang e-portfolio. Ayan, nasa-showcase yung kanilang growth, ano pa ba, yung kanilang understanding, kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, at nakakaroon ng clear picture of their learning achievements. Kaya, ang e-portfolio, making learning visible. Okay? And then, last one, sabi dyan, fostering student activity. Alam naman natin na ang portfolio, sinong gumagawa? Siyempre, ang estudyante. Diba? Ano siya? Lagi natin tatandaan na ang e-portfolio or portfolio ay isang student-centered activity. Ibig sabihin, mayroong kalayaan yung bata na gawin o ilagay lang yung mga gusto niya or gusto niya bang ilagay lang yung mga strength na natutunan niya sa paggawa ng activities or yung mga need niya pang i-improve. Mga ganun bagay. Nakakaroon sila ng ng sariling freedom na ilagay lang yung mga gusto nila. Pwede lang ilagay, may ownership sila sa kanilang learning, kumbaga. Ayan, nakakaroon din ng active participation. Syempre, yung bata mismo yung gagawa. Tsaka nakakaroon din ng collaboration, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina. And also, nakakaroon, dahil dito, na-enhance yung kanilang motivation and engagement. Okay? Ayan, may example of an e-portfolio dyan. Pwede nyo i-click yan mamaya. And then, dumako naman tayo sa pagkakaiba ng ordinary portfolio at sa electronic portfolio na kadalasan ay yun ang isinasagawa natin ngayon, na? O ating ginagamit, kumbaga, sa pag-aaral. Unang-una dyan ay unahin muna natin yung traditional o yung ordinary na portfolio. Ito yung talagang sobrang dami na nakalagay pa sa folder, naglalagay pa tayo ng mga lettering and everything. Ang una niyang pakakaiba, sabi dito, need more resources and space for storage. Okay, magbigay na lang ako siguro ng example, no? For example, sa Clearbook, super dami na natin na ilagay. So, hindi nakakasya yung mga iba nating paper na gusto pa nating ilagay. Kaya ang ending nun, bibili pa tayo ng panibagong Clearbook para kunin yung additional plastic niya para mailagay. Ayun, di ba? It is hard to distribute to others. Tama naman, di ba? Kailangan pa natin i-print ulit. Pag gusto ng isang picture, i-print natin ulit. Siyempre, dagdag gastos pa. And marami pang iba. And pieces will be taken out and touch, held in discuss. O nga naman, di ba? Minsan nga may mga instances na nababasa po yung na-print natin. So, kailangan natin mag-reprint. Ganon. Dagdag, gastos. And time-consuming. Kaya nasabi ko, reprint pa. Yung mga paging pa, kailangan makakasunod. And everything dyan. And don't need much investment to start kasi unang-una. Sinabi ko, nailagay ko rin to dito kasi parang di ba pang may mga activities tayo, minsan hindi na natin kailangan mag-print kasi hindi naman natin nailagay sa document or sa docs mismo sa internet. Kaya minsan nilalagay na lang natin. So parang hindi naman na tayo gagastos nun, di ba? And then sa e-portfolio naman tayo. Unang-una dyan, yung convenient and fast to store. Oo, no? Kahit na, for example, wala kang ginagawa, tapos parang gusto mo nang gawin yung e-portfolio mo. At the moment, ginawa mo na agad. Kasi through online naman, kung may internet ka, gawin mo na agad. Ganon. Ibig sabihin, convenient na natin siya. Sarili nating time, kumbaga. Easy to distribute to others. So nga naman, kasi pag share as link mo lang, sinend mo sa teacher mo, sa kaklase mo, na ma-access nila kagad yon, di ba? And then, easy to copy file, yeah. You just need to copy and paste it sa mga portfolio natin. And then, tcharan, tapos na. Na-copy and paste na nandoon na mismo. And then, ano pa ba? Time efficient. Time efficient, yes. Diba? Madali siyang gawin. Depende kung madali mo siyang magagawa. Pero sabi dito, more investment to start up. Nailagay siya dito kasi, syempre, pag gagawa ng e-portfolio, kailangan ng internet. Hindi naman lahat ay may wifi sa kanilang bahay, di ba? Minsan kailangan pa nila magpa-load. So, load na naman yon, di ba? Data, papaload tayo. And, ayun, minsan mga iba nga, nagpo-pro pa sila sa mga e-portfolio na app na kanilang ginagamit. And last one, need certain computer skills. Alam naman natin na hindi lahat ng estudyante ay marunong o alam ang paggawa ng e-portfolio. Alam naman natin yan, hindi naman lahat. No, alam. Yung iba kailangan pa nilang pag-aralan. Pero okay lang yun. And then, ang kanilang kakapareho naman, syempre, ang ordinary o traditional portfolio at e-portfolio ay it is a learning and assessment tool. Ayan, base sa mga explanation ko kanina, alam nyo na yan. Ginamit siya assessment dahil nagagamit ito ng mga teacher para i-evaluate yun, skills, knowledge, mastery of content, and everything ng estudyante. And sa kanilang mga activities na rin. And then, collection created by a student of their course-related work. Yes. Ayan, collection, yung mga activities nila. And yeah, ang estudyante mismo makakuha. And then, types of e-portfolios. Tumako naman tayo dito. Unang-una, school-centered e-portfolio. Okay, assessment. Ayan, sabihin ko lang din kanina kasi parang ganda nito. Digital collection used to evaluate student performance through assessment tool siya kasi na-evaluate nga ng teacher yung performance ng estudyante base sa mga collection ng works na kanilang inilagay. And then, ano pa ba? Learner-centered e-portfolios. Ayan, diba? Ang e-portfolio ay student-centered. Yan, lagi natin tandaan yan. Driven by assessment for learning. Ibig sabihin for formative yan. Ibig sabihin yung process, yung progress ng bata mismo. School-centered e-portfolio driven by assessment of learning. Kasi kadalasan, yung school natin, every end of semester or every end of our course, natin ipinapasa yun para malaman yung ating mga nagawang activities sa buong semester, sa buong period, and everything. Depende sa school or sa mga teacher na meron tayo. Ayan, nailagay ko rin para dito ang assessment e-portfolio. Yan, sinasabi ko na kanina actually. Evaluate student performance and learning outcomes. Nasa-showcase yung achievements, skills ng bata through their various artifacts or yung mga kanilang works. Sabi din dyan, learning e-portfolios. Learning e-portfolios focus on an individual's educational journey. Malalaman din natin dyan na highlight yung kanilang development, yung growth, nakakaroon ng self-reflection, di ba? Nakakaroon din ng mastery of subjects. And then the last one is career transfer e-portfolios. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Kasi sa iba, after ng kanilang course, ang kanilang pag-aaral sa college, for example, magagamit nilang e-portfolio nila, pwede na lang yung ipakita sa mga applyan nilang mga work. And then, nakakaroon sila ng na-present nila yung mga relevant skills nila, yung kanilang experiences, yung mga accomplishments sa mga employer o sa mga committee na kanilang ina-applyan. Ayun, maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Pero bago ang lahat, meron ako ipapanood sa inyo na video na kung saan nag-interview kami ng isang estudyante na nanalo siya ng best e-portfolio sa isang universidad dito sa Dagupan, Pangasinan. Kaya ating itong panoorin at maraming salamat.
For me, personally, I believe that it is very easy to create an e-portfolio than the original portfolio or your hard copy. An e-portfolio kasi, kung ano yung nakalagay sa original portfolio mo, you can just copy it and paste it sa e-portfolio mo. Ang i-use mo na naman sa e-portfolio is yung mga buttons, yung kakalagay mo. However, sa original portfolio, you need to consider a lot of things, yung paging, yung margins, yung size ng text, yung colors, and everything. So, mas komplikado ang original portfolio. And for example, sa original portfolio ko, it has around 200 pages. Pero sa e-portfolio, you don't need to have that kind of a lot of pages. So, mga sections and subsections na lang ang gagawin.
Ayan, napakinggan naman po natin si Margaret Trinidad to discuss the effective use of an e-portfolio. Margo?
Ayan. Thank you, Micah. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Marguerite Trinidad, and I will discuss about the best practices in the use of e-portfolio. So, when e-portfolios have broader institutional uptake, So, I will discuss about the best practices in the use of e-portfolio, and this is part of effective use of an e-portfolio. So, when e-portfolios have broader institutional uptake, students will be encouraged in all of their courses to use their courses and academic experience. So, for this reason, e-portfolios have broader institutional uptake, and this is part of e-portfolio. So, let's start. Explain the benefits of e-portfolios to students. So, e-portfolios can help learners develop new or deeper learning, which result in higher grades, and it also help learners develop a better sense of themselves as students and as individuals. And it can be shared with friends and family members and showcase learners' achievements when they are applying for jobs. So, nakakatulong talaga yung e-portfolio sa pag-apply ng trabaho. So, next is number 2, establish clear expectation. So, pag sinabi natin clear expectation, yan, nandyan na yung explain to your student kung ano nga ba yung in-expect natin sa kanila sa paggawa ng e-portfolio. So, sabihin, nakakatulong ito sa mga mag-aaral na malaman ang layunin at pangaalintuntunin para sa paglikha ng kanilang mga portfolio at maunawaan kung bakit ito mahalaga para sa kanilang pag-aaral. Next is number 2. Provide numerous examples of successful e-portfolios and created by students. So, direktayin na lang natin sa estudyante natin kung ano yung mga examples na ma-aktibo sa portfolio. So, nandiyan na yung English, ayan, project focus, e-portfolios, e-portfolios by knowledge integration. So, next is number 4, scaffold, and nagkamali po dito, wala pong R, scaffold student learning. Ayan, sabihin, malagang simulan ang mga mag-aaral sa mga simple aktibidad. Ayan, para madali nilang maintindihan yung konsepto. Ayan, konsepto ng e-portfolio. Kapag naging komportable na sila sa proseso, ayan na yung pwede na yung ipakita ang komplikadong mga gawain para hikayatin silang mga invest na higit pang pagmumulya. Sabihin yung makatulong sa pag-aaral sa kanilang akademikong gawain. Next is number 5. Paggawa ng sariling e-portfolio. Ayan, walk to talk. Ayan. Sabihin, tinutukoy nito na maunawaan kung ano nga ba yung hamon ng mga maaring maranasan ng mga mag-aaral. Ayan, upang mas magabayan sila sa pagpapakita ng e-portfolio sa kung paano epektibo nitong gamitin sa mga estudyante. Next is number 6. Ayan, tie e-portfolios to assessment. Ayan, maintain an e-portfolios demands a significant amount of time and energy from students, and they will resent it if their time energy are not reflected in their final grade. Ayan. Ibig sabihin, pinapabuti ang kalidad ng mga trabaho at pag-aaral. Kapag alam ng mga mag-aaral na ang kanilang mga e-portfolio ay konektado sa kanilang marka, ayan, maaari silang ma-encourage at ma-inspire sa trabaho. Next is make it social. Integrate viewing and commenting on other students' e-portfolios as part of assessment. So, ibig sabihin, ang e-portfolio ay nagiging bahagi ng social. Sabihin, karanasan. Ayan, edukasyon kung saan ang mag-aaral ay hindi lamang gumagawa ng kanilang sariling portfolio, kundi nagbibigay din ng feedback sa mga gawa ng halimbawa, maaaring sila ay mag-link yan sa mga bagong vlog. Yung ginagawa natin sa YouTube, yan, pagpapakita ng pag-uusap sa discussion forums. Kunyari, ang modelong ito ay tinatawag din nating hub and spoke. Yan, nagpapalakas ng interaction at tinatawag ditong pagtutulong sa online community para maintindihan natin ang 7 na best practices in the use of e-portfolios. Ayan, may inihandang video si Mr. Jordan. Ayan, pakita natin.
Assessment din sa mga students ko. So, I may require them a portfolio for me to be able to see their growth throughout the year or throughout the months that we've been together, sa mga activities nila, sa mga performance tasks nila. They can put it in their portfolio para makita ko yun. And portfolio is another way of assessment, diba? So, yun, maganda siya. And of course, as a future educator, my academic portfolio is also a great way to show my that I'm competent, diba? Pwede ko tumagal if I'm going to apply for a job or anything that can showcase my abilities and skills.
Ayan, narito po yung additional information tools at to create portfolio. So, number 1 is KidVlog. Ayan. Number 2 is EdoVlogs. Number 3, Rings. Number 4 is VoiceThread. Number 5 is WordPress. Number 6 is Weebly. Number 7 is Google Sites. Ayan yung mga ginagamit natin ngayon. At number 8 is Evernote. Ayan, so the next presenter is Camille.
Ayan, thank you, Margo. So, ang benefits of e-portfolio ay isang digital paraan upang mapakita o may tala at ma-reflect ang learning ng may estudyante o profesional. So, meron tayong 6 na benefits of e-portfolio. Number 1, recognizing learning. So, sa e-portfolio, madaling makita ng mga estudyante at guro ang mga milestone o progress ng learning. Nakatutulong ito upang ma-highlight ng kanilang mga achievement. Halimbawa, makikita ng isang estudyante kung paano gumanda ang kanyang essay mula sa una hanggang sa panibagong gawa niya. Sa number 2 naman, recording learning. Sa recording learning, ang e-portfolio ay nagsisilbing record ng lahat ng gawain matapos ng isang estudyante. Ito ay nagsisilbing dokumentasyon ng kanilang educational journey. Halimbawa, pwedeng maipon ang research paper, projects at reflection sa isang organized na lugar na madaling i-review sa hinaharap. Number 3, reflecting on learning. Reflecting learning, hinikayat ng e-portfolio ang mga estudyante na mag-reflect sa kanilang natutunan at sa kanilang mga gawa. Pinapalalim nito ang self-awareness at critical thinking skills. Sa number 4 naman is validating learning. Ang e-portfolio ay nagsisilbing patunay na may natutunan ang isang estudyante sa kurso o training. Sa number 5 naman is planning new learning. Sa planning new learning naman, nagsisilbing gabay ang e-portfolio sa pagplaplano ng mga sumusunod na hakbang ng learning ng isang estudyante. Makikita kung ano ang mga kailangang pagtuunan ng pansin. Halimbawa, kapag nakita ng isang estudyante na mahina siya sa data analysis, maaari siya mag-focus dito sa mga sumusunod na projects. At ang huli ay assessing learning. Nagagamit ang e-portfolio para sa assessment o evaluation ng mga guro. Nakikita nila ang overall progress ng isang estudyante. Halimbawa, mas madali para sa guro na suriin ang growth ng isang estudyante dahil nandito ang lahat ng kanilang ginagawa. So, for the upside of e-portfolio naman, meron naman tayo ditong 5. Number 1, showcase skill. Number 2, reflective learning. Essay access, organization, and feedback opportunity. So sa number 1, madaling may pakita ang skill ng isang estudyante o professional sa pamamagitan ng e-portfolio. Halimbawa, ang isang graphic ng designer o pwedeng maglagay ng ganyang artworks o design projects dito. Number 2, reflective learning. Pinapalalim nito ang critical thinking ng isang estudyante dahil hinihikayat ang reflection sa bawat natutuhan. Halimbawa, matutunan ng isang estudyante na suriin kung paano naka-apekto ang isang proyekto sa kanyang growth. Number 3, essay access. Sa essay access naman, dahil digital ito, madaling ma-access saan man basta't may internet. Hindi kailangan ng physical storage. So sa number 4, organization. Lahat ng files ay maayos na nakakategorize at hindi nakakalat. Madaling mahanap ang specific na content. Halimbawa, pwedeng maglagay ng may section para sa reflection, projects at certificates. At ang huli naman, feedback opportunity. Madaling magbigay at tumanggap ng feedback mula sa guro o peers. Halimbawa, ang isang guro ay maaaring mag-comment directly sa isang project na nasa e-portfolio para sa improvement ng estudyante. So, ang paggamit ng e-portfolio ay hindi lamang tungkol sa pagtatago ng files, kundi isang paraan upang patuloy na mag-improve ang learning at maghanda para sa professional growth. So, si Maika naman po ang mag-discuss ng downside of e-portfolio. Maika?
Thank you, Camille. Thank you, Marge. Ayan, nabanggit na yung tools to create e-portfolio, yung benefits, yung upside. Siyempre, dadako naman tayo sa downside o yung disadvantage of using e-portfolio or e-portfolio mismo. Unang-una dyan, technical challenges. Siyempre, hindi naman lahat ng estudyante ay kayang bumuo ng isang e-portfolio. Kailangan nila ng technological skills para makabuo. At aminado naman ng lahat na hindi lahat ng estudyante ay mayroong skills sa ganong bagay. Pangalawa, privacy concern. Siyempre, pag nag-share tayo ng mga links, nakikita yung mga email natin doon, and everything. And pangatlo, siyempre yung variability in quality or content quality na nakakaroon ng influence sa effectiveness ng isang e-portfolio. At pang-apat naman, dependence on technology. Siyempre, nakadepende tayo sa technology, yung internet natin, yung data, sa pagbuo ng isang e-portfolio. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. John Lloyd.
Okay, thank you so much. So, dyan po nagtatapos ang aming presentation about portfolio. Sana po ay marami po kayong natutunan. And last but not the least, ay makakapunod po tayo ng isang video kung saan ay nag-interview po kami ng isang private teacher. Thank you so much and bye-bye.
I am teacher Annalisa Bosel. I am teaching grade 7 English and I am also an advisor and an English teacher in grade 11 teaching oral communication and reading and writing subjects. I am teaching in a private school, one of the private school in Dagupan in Maluwag City. It's St. Alberta Grade School.
What is portfolio for you as a teacher?
As someone in the teaching field, portfolio for me is like a blueprint, or it's like a drive, a collection of students' artifacts, evidences, their activities, their examinations. All of these activities are actually collected in order to assess the learnings of the children and in order to check if there are some learning gaps or there are some things that the teachers must need to correct or improve in order for the teachers to see or to be able to attain the goals that we would like to achieve in the end.
What role do you believe a portfolio plays in assessment?
It helps us see whether the child has learned regarding the lessons that we have taught, because by means of having portfolios, we could collect the child's data, their performances, their tasks, their quizzes, and by means of collecting them, the teachers could use this as an element in checking whether the child has learned, whether there are things that must be need to improve in the teaching style of the teacher.
Do you prefer maintaining an e-portfolio or a traditional hard copy portfolio, and why?
It's kind of hard to answer that because those two has actually differences. They both have strengths and weaknesses, which is why they may be used in different aspects. E-portfolio, it is very preferable in today's generation, especially with the technology. Everyone uses computers, uses internet. The best part of having e-portfolio is that it is very flexible and it can be accessible in any places or in whatever time it is needed. In these modern times, I could say that I'll prefer the e-portfolio more than the traditional ones.
How can maintaining a portfolio enhance your effectiveness as an educator?
It helps us track the learnings of the child. It helps us be able to see the things that must be improved and the things that must be worked on too.
How to use portfolio in assessment?
Using a portfolio in assessment is done by collecting the data of the students, the things that are being graded, like for examples, quizzes, activities, performance tasks, or even the pre-assessment and post-assessment activities. It will be compiled together in a portfolio. And if we have already gathered everything that is needed by the teacher, we can already pinpoint or we can already observe which are the lessons that needs to be reteach na ituturo ulit, or we could see the things that must be enhanced in our part as teachers. Could also reflect how the teacher teaches. Okay? Kung paano siya magturo, makikita yun sa mga scores ng bata. If we taught already the lesson and we have given the quiz already, tapos nakita namin na there are students who did not understood the lesson, then we will do prior or we will do after checking the assessment.